you guys, this is Lauren Harpster from Bead and Blossom. Today I'm starting a video series that's going to be a little bit different than my previous ones. This is not going to be a tutorial per se, but more of a documentation of a project that I'm working on. Now this is something that I'm just making for myself. I'm not really intending to publish it, but I wanted to document my progress and kind of the ups and downs while I go through making this in video form, because I thought that would just kind of be a fun thing to share. Just to share a little bit of the background of this project before we go look at the beads. The idea for this project started when I bought this little bear vase here. Now, when I bought it, I didn't pay very close attention to the dimensions of the vase. I thought it was going to be much smaller, and so I was going to make a few pine cone branches to go inside this vase. And then I get this vase, and it's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. And I'm just thinking, man, that's going to be a lot of pine cone branches. And then the idea hit me, why make a bunch of pine cone branches when I could make a pine cone tree, a pine tree? Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I am making a little pine tree. It's small for a pine tree, but for a beading project, it's going to be large. From the size of the container, I am thinking the tree needs to be about 2 feet tall, maybe 1.5 or so feet tall, somewhere around there, in order to make sense in this container. So that's what I'm shooting for, and this is going to be a long-term project. I don't know how long this is going to take me to make, but it's going to take me a little while because I am working on other stuff too that's a little bit higher priority. This is a personal project. My other ones, I'm working on a wedding bouquet and a book, and those are a little bit higher priority. Those are business projects, and this one is a personal one. So this is going to be something that I kind of pick up when I don't want to have to think really hard or when I've made 500 of something else and I really need a break and need something to do. So this is going to be my weekend project idea thing, and we'll kind of see how it goes. All right, so these are the green beads I'm going to be using for my pine tree. I'm going to be using, these are all Matsuno dynamites that I got from Fire Mountain Gem, but I find that most brands have very similar colors. Now this is also the same mix that I use for my Christmas tree. I think my Christmas tree actually has a darker color in it too, but I left that one out this time. Now this one is Transparent Emerald Rainbow. And then this is Transparent Matte Emerald. And then regular transparent emerald. Transparent olive. And then transparent matte olive. All right, so there's my green mix that I'm going to be working with. All right, now for the browns that I'm going to be using in my pine cones. I wasn't originally going to mix my colors together. I was going to be doing shading, but then I realized that I'm going to be making like 30 pine cones for this tree, and since it's so many components and shading takes such a long time, I just decided that, hey, we're just going to mix them and see what happens. So I've got a transparent matte root beer. Again, these are dynamites. And then I have a metallic, or it's opaque bronze iris, the metallic-y looking bead. And then I have a hex cut opaque dark bronze iris. So these ones are, they're a little bit different shape than the other beads. Okay, now let's look at these whites. Now I'm making my tree to appear frosted and the pine cones as well. So all of the pine cone tips and the pine needle tips are going to have a little bit of white on them to look like there's either frost or snow buildup on the needles. Now I'm using two different sizes of whites. I'm going to be using size 8 and size 11 beads all mixed together. And I'm hoping that the effect will be that the snow or the frost buildup isn't a perfectly even layer. So it's going to be a little bit bumpier in some places. I did a small sample and I was encouraged by it, but sometimes you can't tell what the full finished piece is going to look like by a small sample. So hopefully this will look as good as I wanted it to, because I've already mixed the other beads together. I just saved a little bit to make a little demo video for you guys. All right, so I've got size 11. These are Matsuno silky beads. Most brands call this type of bead satin, but Matsuno calls them silky. But they have the same effect, so you could use a different brand with satin beads. All right, so those are white silky rainbow beads. And then I have some opaque white rainbow. And then in my size 8, I have a Ceylon bead. Ceylon white it's slightly transparent, so I'm hoping that the green wire will show through a little bit so that it doesn't look quite as opaque in some places on the branches. And then I also have a size 8 white silky bead. I use these silky beads because they have the shimmery effect. And I don't know if you've ever looked at freshly fallen snow, but it does tend to glitter, and that's why I chose to use the satin beads. All right, so there's a look at my white mix that I've made for my branches and my pine cones. And because this is such a large project, I made more of the mix than what I showed in the video. That was just kind of a small demonstration of my mixes. But I actually have like 2.5 kilos of the green. And then I had 2 kilos of the white. I actually have some white over here that I haven't even mixed together yet. And then the brown, I don't know exactly how much I got. It's probably at least 1.5 kilos, maybe 2. I don't know exactly how many pine cones I'm making for this thing. Just like I don't know how many branches I'm making. I don't know. I don't know how many beads I need. I'm just guessing at this point. Hopefully it'll be enough. I'm hoping my tree will be somewhere around 2 feet when I'm done. I don't really want to buy more beads, so the number of beads that I have might determine the size of my tree. All right, anyway, there's my beads, and I'll update again once I start working and getting some branches made, and we'll see if my if my ideas turn out the way that I think they're going to.